Sweet.
ROW. ROW.
Good stuff. Hey, Jason, how are you, dude? Welcome to
I'm doing good. I'm
um
doing good.
Raised on Wrestling. This is my luchador mask, my Wu Manchu mask that I'm a superhero Chago. So my buddy Rick from 13X Studios designed it. So he has this big old store that he like sells merchandise, like just hand paints Jason masks. And your name's Jason, so it works out perfectly for us
Yeah.
too. Man, we go way back. So like, how were you raised on wrestling?
Oh man, like I've been a fan since like as long as I can remember. I used to watch it with my dad when I was like super young, like in the WrestleMania 5, 6, 7 days. When Hulk Hogan was, the yellow and red Hulkamania Hulk Hogan. When the Ultimate Warrior days. That's kind of how far back I go. I don't know how I don't know how your viewers and listeners. I don't know how far back they go, but that's like late '80s. I would say that it goes that far back.
Indeed, we just started, so it was just like, we're probably like a couple episodes in, and it was inspired by the time that I interviewed Buff Bagwell from WCW and the NWO.
Yes, yeah, he was a good character, man. I never knew why. I never knew why. Like he never went into the WWF back then. Like when they bought out the WCW, like he was one of those guys that got left behind, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Like he never switched over.
He did once. He main evented Raw one week and got fired the next. So that's what he was
Whoa,
in.
really?
Yep, he was
Okay.
like the only wrestler that ever happened. So we talked about it at the on the podcast when we were doing it live in Daytona Beach because he was in
Yeah.
town for a wrestling convention, and so I was able to and that's what like spawned all this. I'm like, I've always wanted to be like a wrestling broadcaster, and so I submitted my internship to TNA Wrestling, and they never got back to me. So comes back full circle though, so that's nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, my first memory of like I was gonna go see SummerSlam with my neighbor, but my parents asked me to come back home, so I couldn't watch SummerSlam with them. So that was like my early pay-per-view memory. But Jason is gone, and he will be right back. I was nervous that was gonna happen because I heard my voice on the other side, like it was Adele. But he's gonna come back in a little bit, and we're gonna jump right back into the interview. And it happens because it's live internet instead of live TV, and anything can happen. So, like Jason, as he was talking about WrestleMania days, and he's back to this screen. Hey, Jason, I kept him
So
entertained for a while.
so when you say SummerSlam, are you talking about the one that happened in Vegas last year, or maybe
Oh,
was that 2020 or 2021?
like when I first got into SummerSlam, like my first wrestling pay per view that I was gonna see, but I couldn't was SummerSlam, like early '90s, or like
Oh, I got
yeah.
you. Yeah. Dude, I don't think my first pay per view was this pay per view event called In Your House. Do you remember In Your House?
Yep, and I remember the video games too, the in your house video games.
Yeah.
Yep.
I believe it was like 95 ish. In Your House, and then the King of the Ring was like right after that, the one Owen Hart one, and then
Uh,
he moved to the King of Hearts, so to speak. He turned heel. I think that was like right around the time like me and you were in karate together, and I think we were talking about like coming up with a wrestling video game, and we were talking about like a combat video game, stuff like that. Back when we
indeed.
were like young teenagers.
Absolutely. And we were like I remember you had we talked about wrestling and and karate class, and you had the Bret Hart glasses that you
Yeah,
brought with you to
I
karate
still
class.
have those.
Do you really?
I do, man.
Dang, that's awesome.
Mm,
Good stuff. And you're wearing a Macho Man shirt. So, what's your
yeah.
favorite memory of the Macho Man?
Uh, you know what? Like a lot of my you know what character I like really good from him was when he was in WCW, and this was like in the late '90s. Like this was after like the NWO was like already like came and gone. It was still around, but it was like at its later stages. And Macho Man, like he had this woman next. Like believe her name was Gorgeous George. Correct me if I'm wrong, but his character, he was like, I remember Bobby the Brain Heenan saying on the on Nitro, like he's the most dangerous man on any planet. Like he just played like a psychotic. Like he would just go into rings and like interrupt people's matches. I just thought that was all funny. He played that whole heel very good. It was like definitely in his later stages of his career, but like I think that's when he did a very good job playing that bad guy role and just pissing people off, and like scaring the crap out of the commentators, and like he had that fear, that fear factor. And like he wore like always black with like white stars, like that attire ring. That's probably my best memory of him. What about you?
Oh, I'd say like when I know it's a bad memory, but when like Hulk Hogan turned on him with at the Bash at the Beach,
Oh,
when the NWO
oh yeah,
formed.
the
God,
leg drop heard around the world.
yeah, that was brutal. And the funny thing is, like, the Ocean Center is like right by my homeroom where I perform stand up comedy, and that's where
Mm,
the wrestling convention was. That's where the NWO was formed. And like before we kick off like every open mic, we pay homage to DX, and they do the whole DX spiel and the crash cross like with the X's and everything, and then everyone just like before we start, actually we just like I get all the songs that everybody wants to walk up to, so we treat it like it's wrestling slash like they have their own
yeah.
theme music. It's so dope. So yeah, good times. We keep the wrestling thing alive there. So
Oh, cool. Yeah, I noticed it's a lot bigger, like in like where you're at, and especially on the East Coast, like in the Jersey area and Florida. I see a lot of conventions happening there. In fact, we're getting an AEW weekend out here. Like I think Dynamite's coming, Friday night Rampage is coming, and then I think their Double or Nothing pay-per-view is on that Sunday. I believe they're here at the end of May. That's like very rare for Vegas to get like, that kind of wrestling event, like WWE hardly comes out here. And they have
wow.
in the past. Like, I've lived out here for 12 years and it's very rare. Unfortunately, I got to work, at the end of the month. I work a really weird firefighting schedule, so I'm probably gonna have to miss it. But yeah, like where you're at, though, like I wish I can go to conventions. One of these days when I get time off work, I'm gonna fly out there when there's like conventions so I can meet some of these dudes, heroes of the past, larger than life characters.
There's actually a wrestling convention coming up in June called the River City Wrestling Con, and like the Hardy
Really? Okay.
Boys and everything are going to be there, and like the New Age Outlaws and DDP and Booker T and everything. It's gonna be
Yeah.
pretty gnarly, dude. Yep, those were our years, I guess. So I mean, I still watch it now because it's like it's gotten better because there's competition now, and even though WWE calls it an alternative, it's just like more wrestling companies that are like more on their level now, almost on their level, but more
Yeah.
options to watch. So indeed, man. And I remember growing up with you, and we were playing all those wrestling video games and stuff. And what was like your favorite wrestling video games and favorite wrestler to pick wrestle us and stuff?
So, like back then, I would say like either No Mercy if you're a WWF guy, or Revenge if you were a WCW guy, right? Those were probably the two big ones that come to mind. That was in our, later childhood. I believe we were in our later years in high school when those came out. As far as like being real young, I kind of stayed away from the wrestling games just because I didn't think they were. I couldn't get addicted to them, or I own a lot of them, but I if memory serves me correct, the games that I played like relentlessly were those two. I can't remember what the company was called that produced both of them. I believe it was the same one, but like Revenge, No Mercy on this Nintendo 64. And dude, I love picking the Rock just because I remember he used to spit on his hand and then like punch people. I remember that move. I liked his moves. His music pumped me up. And plus, he was, like an overpowered character on that game, right? He you could bet you're going to win a lot of your matches, whether you're playing with the AI or if you're playing with one of your buddies, down the street. But yeah, I'd say The Rock on No Mercy, and then obviously you got to go with Hollywood Hulk Hogan on the Revenge Game.
Indeed, and I think like the THQ is the one that made it, and
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, it was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, those THQ games were legendary for sure, even on the PlayStation and stuff. So, man, I miss those games. I'd always like I'd had PlayStation and so it was just always a fun time to do.
Yeah, man. Have you played the new one that came out, 2K22?
You know what? I stopped at PlayStation 2.
Oh, okay. So you've been out of the game for a little bit. The video game.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I've had this when you spoke of The Rock, like I've this random stranger and I have been going on a Rock gift war back and forth on Twitter for like a while now. So it's like
Yeah.
we just like picked The Rock gifts and like I reminded him that yesterday was The Rock's birthday, so it was pretty
That's
awesome.
right. Yeah, he just had his 50th birthday. Yeah, God bless him, and he looks good too. Still.
Yeah, he hasn't aged for a long time.
Yeah, man. What's his secret, huh?
Well, he's like an Asian slash Pacific Islander, so I guess Asians don't raisin, so I guess that's that. So, oh man, good stuff.
Oh
But yeah,
yeah.
who's your favorite currently?
Right now, dude. Unpopular opinion, but I really like the Miz for whatever reason that is. I just like his whole persona, like his whole um from like the moment his theme song comes on, and he walks he does his entry to the ring, and just his style. He does lose a lot, but I think it's hilarious. I like watching him. He's one of my favorites to watch. And then like on the AEW side, I really like Darby Allin, and his he's a very skilled wrestler. I like his style as well on that side of things.
Indeed, absolutely. And the Miz has come a long way since the real world days.
Yeah, he's been around for well over a decade. He was definitely more successful in the early 2010s, the 2015 time frame, if I'm not mistaken. Like he was a world titleist during that era, I guess. I get confused with the eras now. I'm getting a little older, from the Attitude Era to the Ruthless Aggression Era, but yeah, he has come a long way, though. I agree.
Absolutely. Yep, and Darby Allin's one of my favorites too, and like for Sting to take him under his wing like that is pretty dope.
That was cool. Yeah. You know what? I actually saw that coming. Like I was like, dang, that would be cool if like Sting took this dude under his wing and was like a manager type of role. Because I remember I actually just got back into wrestling. I was kind of out of it for a long time, and then when AEW made their big TNT debut, I believe it was in 2019. I remember I thought about that about Darby Allin. I was like, dang, this guy kind of reminds me of Sting. And then Sting popped up, a few months later, and I was like, whoa, it was pretty cool to see that. And to still to this day, really.
Absolutely. And they've had some like legendary tag team matches like in that old factory and stuff like that. And
Oh yeah,
man,
it's like watching that brand and then watching the WWE. There's a huge difference in the styles. Like I'm not going to say talent because they're both very talented. They have a lot of talent in both companies, but the style it's very different in AEW, and I actually like it. It's faster paced, high flying. That like the tag teams like you're talking about. I do see
absolutely. And they're the camera work in WWE kind of makes me dizzy. They
that. Does
just
it really? Yeah.
yeah, like just keep like just use. You don't have to use so many cuts. Like just that's why I like AEW more. Like with their camera work. Maybe I'm just too technical on that side. So
Yeah. I can see what you're talking about. Yeah.
yep. Yeah, and the Miz and the Miz and the MGF are so much alike with their mic skills. Like MGF's getting up there, and it's just like you love seeing them be the heels because they
Oh
know
yeah,
how
he's
to.
very good on the mic. He's got A plus mic skills. And he plays that heel role, you know, to a T very well. He knows what he's doing.
And getting under your skin and everything is so great. Like his when they were trading like bars with CM Punk, that was just so it cut
Oh
deep
yeah,
and it was brutal.
and he knows how to get the fans against him very quickly too. Like he knows how to piss people off in the crowd. You know,
Yeah, man,
I
that's like
find it
my
I find it humorous.
same here. Like my that's my favorite thing is like just being able to say like just dropping pipe bombs because like that's what I do on stage too. Is like I'm like a really nice guy, but then when I go on stage, I'll say like really dirty things, and like I get to play the villain when I'm on stage, and it's like so fun. Like it
You
grosses
enjoy
people
that
out.
role, huh?
Yeah, dude. It's like finally I can tap into my dark side and get people all disturbed.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like tapping into taboo subjects that people are afraid to talk about. Because like a lot of people that I've seen live are like too vanilla for me, and I'm like, I'm more of a chocolate guy. Like, put me up there and get me all messy. I got to send you some of my stand up. It's pretty raunchy.
Oh, please do, man. I'd love to see it.
The thing is, I don't use any curse words though, so it's like I do like an even trade off. So,
Hey, yeah, it's all good over here. I find all comedy, whether it's for children or for or or not, or cussing or not cussing. I like comedy in all forms.
absolutely. I just
Yeah.
I don't know how it can be like a clean comic. It's just so many things that just makes me curious about the world that I'm not afraid to share. So it's like
Hmm.
I'll just talk about it. I don't care.
I mean, hey,
So
it took Adam Sandler like what 15 movies before he made his like first rated R movie, right?
I think so.
And he was
Yeah.
like throwing f bombs like crazy. What was that movie where he meets his son because he had a son like in middle school?
Oh yeah, I can't remember
Oh
the name.
man, I can't. It's that's my boy.
Oh, that's the one.
Yeah, he. I don't think he came out with a movie like that where he was like just throwing f bombs like through the whole movie. He was pulling out beers like out of his sock and out of like random drawers, drinking beers through the whole movie. I found it hilarious, on that rated R scheme. But then like his comedy like that were just PG, like the Little Nicky and the that stuff was hilarious for me too. Whether it's I appreciate comedy in all forms.
Most definitely. My favorite, like some of my favorite memories was Adam Sandler was like his comedy album.
Hmm.
Those are just that one was a classic, and then just his SNL days with Farley and Spade and stuff. It was just like the bad boys of Saturday Night Live were the best.
Yeah, classic. Very much so.
Absolutely. So how do you get the nickname Gigs?
Okay, so kind of it goes back to the job I have now. I've been out in Vegas since 2010 is when I got this job. I was in the Air Force from '01 to '09 as a firefighter, and then I got a job out here. It was my first job I applied for in 2010, and so we had to go through a security clearance type deal. Being in the Air Force and stuff. So a part of that process is we had to take a polygraph, and I laughed during mine. Then I had to redo my polygraph. Word got back to the fire department that you know, hey, Jason had to go do his polygraph again. They're like, why? He's like, he giggled. He started laughing during it, and the guy was asking him questions. So they just started calling me Giggles, like at work, like, and then it just like it turned into Gigs, over time, and that's just what they call me. So I kind of stuck with me. Like I had my license plate had Gigs, all my gamer tags have Gigs, and it just kind of stuck. All the firefighter wives call me Gigs. It's just the name that stuck to me.
That's hilarious, man. That's a cool nickname because it can be like for video games too, like 8 gigs, 16 gigs, 32 gigs.
Yeah, yeah.
and like comedy show gigs. It just fits everywhere. So
Yeah, it fit pretty good. It was stuck.
absolutely, man. I didn't know you were in the Air Force. Thanks for serving, and like right after high school, pretty much, like because you graduated in 2000, I'm guessing.
Yeah, 2000. I waited a year. Just wanted to, what I mean, catch up a little bit, rest and uh, just get out of that school mode. You know what I mean? My mom really wanted me to go to college during that time, and I was like, nah, I really don't want to. I just want to hang out. I was working at Pizza Hut there on Abriendo, like the last 2 years in high school, and that last year I was in Pueblo, and then yeah, then I went off. I think May of 2001. It's been 21 years now since
Dang,
since that happened. That's crazy how time flies, huh?
it does, dude. It
Yeah,
does.
I just turned 20 years old, and then I was gone like the next week.
That's wild.
And then I've been doing the same thing since. Like it's the same job. Basically, I'm just contracting now through the Air Force, but like same job,
That's
playing the same game, Surreth.
absolutely time to play the
Yeah,
game like your Triple H. Circling back to that stuff, man. That's good stuff. And man, it's like, and in 2001 was the year I graduated in June, and May was when I went to prom. And uh,
yeah.
I feel so old. I didn't even go to my 10-year high school reunion or my 20-year high school reunion either.
I didn't either. Uh, yeah, my 10 year was 2010, and that's when I got the job out here. I started the job out here May of 2010, and then my 20 year, that was obviously COVID. The May of 2020, we were all on lockdown, right? So, it's funny you mentioned prom. My daughter just went to prom on Saturday, 17 years
Dang,
old.
that's wild, dude.
That's crazy how time flies. Like
It,
just of where we're at today.
wild stuff, dude. That is crazy. Congrats on your the family and everything, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Indeed. I'm still flying solo. No
Still
side,
flying solo. Hey, man, nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
There's
no
there's
sidekicks or no
jealous of
side.
you.
Yeah, no
there's
sidekicks or no side chicks, right?
yeah, I have that the 17-year-old daughter all the way down. I got 5 kids, 4 boys
Wow.
after that. My youngest is he's 2 now, and this dude was up from like 2 in the morning until like 5 in the morning last night, just like wide awake. And I was up with him, and he just had so much energy. I was like, dang, how does this kid have this much energy? Like in the middle of the night, we're watching like forensic files on TV, and like I'm just trying to get this kid to calm down. But yeah, like that's the times where like I'm like, man, I'm jealous of Sareth.
Indeed. Oh man, I don't mind it, but I'm just like, I'll be ready to settle down when I probably move back to Colorado because I don't want to deal with moving around a lot, and I know Florida's,
Dude, I hope I never move again.
yeah,
I
it'd
hate
be nice.
moving,
How's Vegas?
bro. It's hot. It is so hot here. It's already like not unbearable hot right now, but it's gonna get there. A lot of people. It's kind of crowded. Like you go anywhere, it's gonna be crowded. Like you try to sit down at a restaurant or you go shopping at grocery shopping anywhere that there's groceries. But that's part of the big city life. Uh, it's a desert. It's not as green. Every time I go back home to Colorado, that's the first thing I notice is just how green it is. As soon as that plane lands, and we usually fly into Colorado Springs, and man, it's so pretty there. But that's one thing I miss is the greenery, the rain. Like we don't get rain out here ever.
Dang.
Um, but like the perks are, like during the winter months, like we have like nice weather. It doesn't get freezing cold, like to the point where you don't even want to go outside. It's almost shorts weather year round. Um, you know, like shorts weather, maybe a long sleeve shirt or a hoodie. You never need like a jacket or a coat for the most part. Um, but that's Vegas though. I don't go downtown that often. When I like our first 2 or 3 years here, me and my wife went downtown like all the time. Like when I wasn't at work, or if she had time off. But yeah, we stay away from downtown, bro. Like we're probably 25 minutes away from the strip. But that's Vegas, man. How's Florida?
Oh, it's nice, dude. It's like it's humid, but it's not unbearable. It rains. It alternates. It rains randomly, like for 15 minutes sometimes, and
Mhm.
I enjoy it. Like because we don't have snow, I can do like a comedy like show like once a month, and like
Yeah.
there's like hurricanes hard to come around. Like for some odd reason, like the past hurricanes kind of dodge us.
Yeah.
Like Irma and Matthew were like the last two, and they just rarely bug my part of the state. So this is interesting, man. We got lucky.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've been to Florida once. I can't remember where it was. I went there for the Air Force sent me there for Silver Flag training. I can't remember what the base was though. This was back in 2006. I want to say Tyndall Air Force Base. Um, it was so long ago though. I can't even remember what like towns were close to that Air Force
Dang.
Base, but I remember like it was in July, man, and it was hot there, like very humid.
And it's not bad. I enjoyed it. Like the highways are not bad. Like
Mm,
I prefer like living where I'm at because there's like no traffic. It's very small, but it's only an hour away from like the big cities like Daytona, Jacksonville, and Orlando. So it's like
yeah.
I'd much rather deal with that than like live in a big city and like drive so far away from like other big cities.
Yeah, for
Yep, man. And Florida has like the weird people like serial killers and stuff. So
sure. How long you been in Florida for?
7 years.
7?
Yep.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to stay in Colorado, and but it just didn't. The I just had to move.
Yeah,
Yep, but I don't know. I'll retire there shortly. We're like
yeah,
we're coming up. Well, you're 40, and I'll be 40 soon. So
yeah. I know. Oof.
we're so old.
Dude, we're getting there, huh?
Yep,
Like my
we're
my
like
kids remind me all the time.
we're at the age where DDP started. So wrestling.
Dude, I think about that all the time. Like I want to say oh man, who was like retired before we were before they hit 40. There's like guys that were like Bret Hart. I think he was just over 40 when he was like when he got kicked in the face by Goldberg, and he was pretty much done after that. And to think like God bless their souls, but like Eddie Guerrero and I'm forgetting maybe Brian Pillman. I don't know if he reached 40 yet. I know Eddie Guerrero was only 37 years old when he passed. I'm not sure how old Chris Benoit was when he passed. I don't think he was 40 though. But yeah, like I think about that all the time, like with celebrities age and athletes age. Like, dang, I was way older than them when they did this or they did that.
Yeah, Chris Benoit was like 39.
He might have been, yeah.
Yeah, he almost reached 40, but he didn't. He's like a month away, or less than a month away.
And then guys like I think Ravish and Rick Rude died at 40, and like Mr. Perfect and the Big Boss Man, like those dudes were in their like early 40s, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's some scary stuff. It's like the way that everything was handled when they were wrestling, and watching like Dark Side of the Ring and seeing how they put their bodies through, and like hardly any health coverage or health care or anything.
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, I've watched a few of those, and it just like breaks your heart to kind of see what these guys go through, on a uh, not just uh, in the athletic world, but really like in their everyday life, day to day.
It's crazy, and it's true what they say. Like they're, even though they're like foes in the ring, they're actually dance partners. And they take care of
Mhm.
each other.
Yeah.
And phew, some of those matches are intense, like those old ECW matches and stuff. I was just like,
Whew,
man,
yeah. With the thumbtacks and like, yeah, the barbed wire baseball bats. Oh my God. Like, what are some of these dudes thinking? But hey, it's all for the love of the show.
yeah, they're starting to get extreme in AEW now. So it's like, man,
Hmm.
yeah. I was at a horror convention, Spooky Empire in Orlando, when I saw Mick Foley walking around, and
Oh,
I was like,
really?
yeah, he was
That
one
is
of the
so
guests.
cool.
Yeah, it was just like, man, it was just seeing him like fly off the cage because of Undertaker throwing him off onto the announcer's table. Just like that's
Yeah,
like the first thing that came to mind. I was like, good lord.
and then now he's walking around 20 some years later, like
Yeah, dude, nobody to be his handler or nothing. It was just walking by himself to his next station. I was like, he was about to do like some photo ops or something.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
One of my favorite memories is him like switching to like Mick Foley, Mankind, Cactus Jack, and Dude Love for the Royal Rumble, like,
Hmm.
and they had like four entrances, so that was pretty
Dude, oh,
awesome.
he came like 3 times, right?
Yeah,
Dude, that's got to be my favorite event too. Is the Royal Rumble. Like I've made sure I've watched all those. Like I think like over during COVID, I think I spent a couple of days and I watched all of them from the '88 one. I think was the first one all the way up until like the 2020. I watched every single one of them. It took me a few days. My wife is
dang,
like, "You're watching another one? Like, how many of them are there?" I was like, they have them every year, till this day. It's probably my favorite event. Something about
absolutely,
it, huh?
yeah, big
Just like
time.
hearing that horn and another dude comes running to the ring, and just like just just the way it goes. Like I'm a huge fan of that.
Doing the whole countdown with the crowd.
Yeah,
Indeed, I remember like going to like the mom and pop shops and like Blockbuster and seeing the box art for him, and how it was just all cartoon like with
I
all the
do remember
wrestlers.
that. Yeah,
Man, those were the days for sure.
yeah, it had them like all lined up, kind of. Like
Yep, yep.
yeah, I remember those the art covers or something. I think it was like 91, 92 time frame. 93 ish.
I'd have my dad rent those for me, and we'd watch wrestling together and stuff. It was
Yeah,
good
that
stuff.
yeah, same, same. Now
I
I
miss
have
those.
Peacock, and they're all on Peacock now.
Ah, I have none of those streaming services. I'm so cheap. I'm just like, just whatever is on YouTube, I'll just watch that. So
Or that, yeah.
yeah, but man, it's just I'm I can't believe like wrestling's growing this big and so many options to watch again. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's gotten huge, man. Like the fan base, and yeah, just like the just looking at these stadiums, at these shows that they put up, especially the two big ones between WWE and AEW, just like the following that they have. And I follow a lot of stuff on social media, like I'll follow like NFL type of community pages. I'll follow video game community pages, different brands of video games, of games I play, and then I'll of course I'll follow wrestling ones, and like the wrestling ones have tons of conversations on these community, like on Facebook, Instagram. It's just the following is just unbelievable in 2022, compared to these NBA pages. And we got a hockey team in Vegas now, so I follow a lot of hockey. Like wrestling's bigger than that even, and it's crazy where it is at today still.
Yeah, like it was even a big deal when like the Golden Knights didn't make the playoffs for the first time ever in franchise history this year.
Everybody is sad. Yeah, everybody was down. It was a tough year. Well, I still root for the Avalanche, and they got home ice for up until they reach the Stanley Cup, if they go that far and don't play the Panthers. But if they're not playing the Avs, then yeah, I root for the Knights, and with everybody here in Vegas. 'Cause they were good since they came in 2017. They've been like an excellent team every year, and they're big. And yeah, the town is down right now.
I bet. I mean, you still have the Raiders, but the Golden Knights would always make it to the playoffs. So,
Yeah, I think the Golden Knights have a bigger following than the Raiders. Raiders got here, I want to say 2 years ago. Um, you still have your 49er fans are everywhere here too. 49er fans, Raider fans, Chargers, Cardinals. You see Cardinal fans, but when it comes to hockey, it's pretty much unanimous, and that's their team. Raiders are
absolutely.
pretty big, so you see a lot of Raider stuff now, but it's it's not unanimous like it is like the Golden Knights are.
most stuff. Yeah, I'm still an Avalanche fan, and even then on the ice they still fight. So they do bring
I know.
the Rock'em Sock'em robots on ice. That's great.
Yeah, those guys are tough, man.
Yeah. Oh, so if only they can involve like body slams on ice and all that stuff and leg drops.
Some elbow drops.
That'd be legendary for sure.
Hey man, I want to see somebody get rock bottomed in a hockey arena. That'd be something.
Yeah, and they do have padding, so they should be fine. I bet.
Yeah. Hit him in the back with the steel chair. Why not?
Man, I remember like the Avalanche and the Red Wings would always, fight when the Patrick Roy
Dude, that was
days.
a good rivalry. Yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Those were the days too.
And that was like as bloody as ECW sometimes.
Yeah, you're
They
not
did.
kidding.
They did not like each other, but and hopefully the Panthers and the Avalanche play just like old times, and the Avalanche win the Stanley Cup again because that was like their last.
Yeah, that was I believe that's who they beat in '95 during our first season in uh in the NHL. I think they beat the Panthers in 1995. So that'd be cool, 27-ish years later, and get that rematch.
Yeah,
And we
most
haven't been to
definitely.
the Cup since 2001. I think in fact, when I went to the Air Force, my mom was sending me the newspapers from the Pueblo Chieftain on how those Avalanche games were panning out against the Red Wings to get to the Cup, and then, Jersey Devils when we played them in the Cup in that 2001 Cup Finals. I was getting newspapers. You remember
Dang, that's pretty awesome.
those? Bro, do those exist anymore? You guys have those in Florida?
Newspapers.
Newspaper, yeah. Newspaper?
Uh, yeah, we have some newspapers
Dude, I don't see
once
that anywhere.
once a week.
I want to say they're obsolete. Either that or I just don't see them.
Yeah, I think they should stop with them anyway. So the journalism is not so doing well.
Yeah.
I
We
was a
got
concert. I was a concert journalist out in LA, and I got paid like $80 a year. That's how bad it was.
oh really?
Yep.
$80 a year. Oof, hard time.
Yeah, dude. But I got into free concerts for free though for like those 3 years, so it wasn't bad.
That's cool. That's pretty rad, yeah.
It was a good trade off. But I had to get 4 jobs just to survive out there because like I didn't want any roommates. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like that old Stone Cold saying that don't trust anybody. DC.
No.
Yeah, had to bring it back to wrestling, but man, Stone Cold was awesome.
At WrestleMania this year?
Yeah,
Oh my god, that was awesome. You know what? He's like one of those wrestlers that like I truly miss, man. Like his mic skills, his performance, his characters, his rivalries with Mr. McMahon. Like that is one. Like his talent is missed. Like you know what I mean. There'll never be one like him. Would you put him on your Mount Rushmore of of basically the wrestling goats? Is he up there?
absolutely, 100%.
Like one of the top four best? Who would you put up there? The
I would have to pick one from each company, to be honest with you.
other three?
And
Okay.
it would only be fair, like
Yeah.
from me growing up. I mean, I'd put Sabu up there from ECW.
Okay.
I'd put Sting up there. I'd put Stone Cold from WWF, WWE, and from AEW. I'd have to go with like one of the pillars. I'd probably put Darby.
Darby Allin. I
Yeah,
like it.
indeed. That would be like, and have like Sting and Darby next to each other. So that'd be awesome.
That
How
is
about
cool. That's
yourself?
very
What's your
interesting. Yeah.
what's your Mount Rushmore?
Oh God. I'd have to put like Rick Flair, Hulk Hogan, uh, probably Stone Cold and The Rock. I would say those four. I know that's kind of pulling from the bag of the WWF company, all of them, but that's just I think they had like the tenures. You know what I mean? Like the the time that they put in, from and then just like the styles and the performances, and then the championships, the gold, all that types of stuff. That I factor in. But I do see that question asked a lot. It's very interesting what people put up there, and there's really no wrong answer. It's but it's a very cool conversation to have.
Absolutely. And they always like whenever people say Mount Rushmore, they always go with the male wrestlers, but they never put like the tag teams up there or the lady wrestlers or managers.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, uh, yeah, there's some very quality candidates out there, and and what you just brought up, I agree completely. Yeah,
So if you can put a
China
Mount
should be up
Rush,
there.
yeah, indeed. So if you can put like four lady wrestlers or managers or ladies that were in the business, which uh, ladies would you have on your Mount Rushmore?
Oh, Miss Elizabeth for sure. Um, China. Uh, Charlotte Flair, just because of what she's done recently, like in the last what 9 years or so. She's pretty successful, like modern. If the Mount Rushmore had a modern wing. Uh, so yeah, Charlotte, Miss Elizabeth, China. That's a good question. There's so many, Medusa from back in the day, or you can go with, Becky Lynch from, Someone Today. Or if you want to go into the diva era, there's like Trish Stratus and Lita, and so many good candidates for that fourth spot. You could, depending on what era you want to pull from.
Absolutely. There's so many to choose from. I'm like, I'm just gonna put them all on there because they did their thing from like all promotions.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's so hard to pick just one from each company.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yep. Same for tag teams. But if you had to, which tag teams would you put on Mount Rushmore?
Okay. You know what? Legion of Doom comes to my mind. You remember those guys, the Road Warriors? What do you remember them as Legion of Doom or Road Warriors?
Yep. Same here. Good stuff.
Yeah. Those guys. You gotta put Hall and Nash in, right?
Yep.
You have to. Um, and then you have to put in. I would put in the New Age Outlaws. I don't know why. I just like those guys from the DX era.
Yep.
Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg. And then I want to pull somebody like more recent. You know what? I'm just gonna go with the Steiner brothers, just because they were my favorites. At that growing up, coming up as a as a wrestling fan, they were my favorites, especially Scott Steiner. Like especially when he turned heel, his mic skills were pretty funny too.
Yep. Like I still think about the Steiner math when him and Petey Williams were in TNA, and he was just doing the math with like going up against Samoa Joe. I think it was.
Yeah.
It just doesn't add up, but it's still hilarious. So.
Dude, yeah, I like it when he like gets his opponent down and he just starts randomly doing push-ups in the ring, dude. I find that kind of stuff hilarious. I don't know why.
Good stuff.
Just
Indeed.
wasting time, like showboating. That's the best part of wrestling, right? Just the showboating part.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad they got inducted to the Hall of Fame this year.
Yes. Yeah. I thought it was only going to be Undertaker this year, that they were just going to let him be the solo, HOF inductee. But yeah, I think they got Sid Vicious, Steiner Brothers, and and Undertaker this year. Good call.
Indeed, for sure. And his son's Braun Breaker's in NXT, and
Oh yeah.
or yep, I think it's his nephew, right? Because Rick Steiner's his dad. I think that's how it is.
I think that's Scott Steiner's nephew, I believe.
Indeed.
I believe so, though.
Good stuff. Either way,
but dude, I just found out today that that Tyrus guy from Fox News from the Gutfield show, I just found out that was Brodus Clay from the WWE like 9 years ago.
Are you serious?
I did not know that. Like, I just thought there were two different people. Like, I knew Brodus Clay, from watching wrestling, And then I watch the Gutfield because I think Gutfield's hilarious. Not to bring politics into this, but he's hilarious, you know. And I never knew that dude was in the WWF, like or the WWE, you know, what it's called now. But I just found that out today as I was like
Dang.
reading up on some stuff before coming on with you. I was like, what?
That's
That's Brodus Clay. Wow. Like, and I get a lot of stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was playing my game. I can't remember what game it was. I want to say WWE 2K19. And there was a wrestler on there. I can't remember his name. Someone's going to correct me, though. But he is Dax Harwood in AEW, you know, and like I was like, what? That's Dax Harwood? It took me the longest time to realize that Dean Ambrose from the Shield in the WWE is John Moxley in AEW. I was probably the last to know that.
yeah. They always switch names. Some of them switch names, and yeah, like when you said Brodus Clay, I thought like he was like only gonna be like a panel or something, or a talking head or a guest on Fox, but I didn't think he'd be there forever. But I don't
Mhm.
watch Fox. I just rarely watch TV or get involved with politics either. But it's
Yeah.
just bonkers. It's just yeah. And I remember the, like his whole shtick with the dancing and everything like that. Eh,
I remember that.
oh man, to hear Brodus Clay again is great. And John Moxley, I'm glad he formed that new stable with Daniel Bryan or Bryanson or and Yuta
Yes.
and
What
Regal.
is it? Yeah, it's a cool little trio that they got going on AEW. I can't remember that third guy's name though, but yeah, Brian Danielson, John Moxley. I caught a little bit of it last Wednesday, I believe, when it was. Yeah,
And I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty cool group name that they have. So it's it'll come to me eventually. I'll probably
yeah. I just read it like a few days, like within the last few days. I just read it. They have like an acronym too, like BCC or something like that.
yeah, it's the
But it'll come to me too. Yeah.
Blackpool Combat Club. That's what it is.
Yes, combat blood. What?
Blackpool Combat Club.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yep. I can't remember whether it was like Stone Cold was DTA, don't trust anybody, or don't trust anyone. I think it's anybody, but I'll just go with
Don't
that.
trust anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like looking back at it, I was like, oh, it has to be the other one. But man, do you like you have the Macho Man shirt? Which other shirts do you have in your growing up or still
Oh
now?
man, I got a huge collection of shirts. I got a CM Punk shirt, an old school one. There, a lot of my shirts have to do with old school. Um, I have a Hulk Hogan one that's where he's like doing this little pose, you know, and it says like like built in 1981 or something. And I mainly got it because that was the year I was born in. I got an Andre the Giant Roots of Fighting shirt. Um, yeah, I represent you know that I'm a wrestling fan on what I wear.
Absolutely, it's the
Yeah,
way to go, man. Like I'm a huge fan of CM Punk too, not because of like his pipe bomb and like his theme song by Living Color, but like the fact that he's straight edge too is just pretty
yes,
awesome.
yeah, for sure.
He's a really good role model for like young people and the kids. Like you don't have to take steroids or do drugs or drink and party. If you don't have to be the Ric Flair and have all those ladies and champagne, you can be
Yeah.
straight edge too. So good stuff. Yeah, I used to like. I remember like my one of my very first shirts was like the F Fear Drink Beer by Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And I had like a Vendetta shirt, so that was like part of that post that you liked or commented on the ECW post that I did.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, those were the days.
Yes. Yes. For sure.
Yep. My wardrobe changed a little bit. I just had like all these old concert shirts that I had covering all these shows because I since I got them for free, I wanted to get the artist paid, so I would buy shirts. And they have like such a massive collection of concert shirts for days now. And then I
Yeah.
started. putting together my festivals, and so I have my own festival shirts, and I have like the bands and the comedians on the back. So
Hmm.
they're so cute to see their names on the back. It just warms my heart.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But man, it's nothing like putting like you're going back home to Colorado, to Pueblo, Colorado, and just like being celebrated. It's like a
Dude, I
hero's
know. Yeah.
welcome. I figure I can't go to everybody's house, so why don't you just meet us here for like 4 days and then we just reunite and just party? That's my thing.
Yeah. Hey,
I guess
when was that when we met up? That was like 13 years ago, huh?
yeah, we met in karate class. I was like 8 or 9. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I think I was like 10 or 11 ish for sure. Yeah. You guys were there first, though. I remember. I was always like a belt below you guys.
Oh, you surpassed me because I didn't want to break a board.
You know, yeah,
It's like, what's the point of breaking this board if this tree didn't do nothing, did he?
yeah.
And I wasn't much of a fighter too. I was such a wuss. Like I just couldn't, you know, I couldn't beat up anybody. It's like maybe karate's not for me. I'll just be a dishwasher for the rest of my life.
Hey, man. Me neither, man. I just did it just to stay out of trouble, really.
Dude, that's
And
what my
now
parents
my
did
kids
too.
are doing it now. My 9-year-old and my 7-year-old are uh, they're doing the jiu-jitsu thing at a jiu-jitsu academy out here.
Oh hell yeah! Speaking of jiu-jitsu, do you go to the UFC fights out there? Because there's a bunch of them.
Um, I've been to a few, but like not all of them. Not like when I say a few, I've been to two of them since being out here, and it was like they weren't like pay-per-view shows or nothing like that. But yeah, like I said, I stay away from downtown. And it's like super expensive to go to those fights too. Like, uh, and then with my job schedule, like I work 4 weekends 1 month, and then I'll have 4 weekends off the next month. So it's like it's hard to go to concerts and go to fights and stuff like that. I believe me and my wife went to a convention when I first got hired out here. Like we didn't go to the fights per se, but we went to they used to have like a convention, like if I'm not mistaken, before the fights, like where they see people. Like we were like on the outskirts, checking it out, seeing if we could see anybody. But that's like the closest thing. And dude, like me and my wife, like we've had a kid in 2013, 2015, and then in 2020. So, yeah, and it's just really just us. Like it's hard to even go to the movies sometimes. But yeah, I'd like to go to that UFC stuff. I'm still a huge fan of that too. Not just wrestling, but I love UFC, and I have like a bunch of Pride Fighting Championship DVDs that I'll throw in there. I'm a member of the UFC Fight Pass. I pay the yearly subscription to go back and watch the classic fights. Just like I do with the wrestling stuff, dude. I could go and watch the 1992 Royal Rumble today. I love that. I love that vintage stuff so much.
I agree. And I've only been to two UFC events too, so they were pay-per-views, and it was good times for sure. One was on my birthday. I got to see the Vanderlei Silva Rampage fight
Oh,
in
okay.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Yep. And I went to another one that I can't remember it was Tito Ortiz versus Vitor Belfort. Was that other one
Oh,
that
okay.
it was like back in the day, and like when they were about to announce the winner, Tito was like running around the whole arena. It's just nuts. They didn't show that on TV though, and then he
Oh,
got back
yeah.
into the octagon. But so who are some of your favorite like MMA fighters that cross over to the wrestling world?
Oh, Brock Lesnar for sure. Like I was a huge fan of Ronda Rousey when she was in the UFC. I loved watching her fights, but then when she went into wrestling, I wasn't a big fan of her for whatever reason. I always rooted for whoever she was facing. I remember she headlined WrestleMania one year, and I was like, "Oh, please don't let her win." I think I was going for Becky Lynch in that one, or whoever she was facing. And I was kind of glad to see Charlotte beat her just the other day. But as far as like Jake Hager, he's a MMA guy too, right? I've never
Yeah.
seen his fights. I got to look that up. I'm sure they're on YouTube somewhere floating around. But I know Jake Hager's one of those guys. Everybody knows Brock Lesnar. He went back and forth a couple times, if I'm not mistaken. I think he went back to the UFC for, I want to say UFC 200. I think they paid him a ton of money, to come back. But who comes to your mind like that's done? Uh, the two sport athletes, so to speak.
I'd say like Ken Shamrock and
Oh,
Dan the Beef Severn.
dude,
I go
that's so
back.
funny you brought him up. I created him on my 2K22 game. I had to create him.
Indeed, yeah,
The
dude.
world's most dangerous man.
Yeah. He's like, get out of my way, and like the lion's den and all that stuff.
It's funny because he took that WWF personality straight to the UFC and to Pride. When he was in Pride, I remember he had bad blood with Tito Ortiz, and he brought that personality with him in those interviews. He brought that with, I want to say, Don the Predator Fry in his Pride fighting days. Do you think Tito Ortiz would do well, right? In the
I
WWE, Conor McGregor would do very well. I'm surprised these guys make that transition, get Vince McMahon on the phone, and they're really good trash talkers and performers. I'm surprised like more guys don't do it. Not to throw shade at Dana White or the UFC guys, but like I don't think they pay their guys like these wrestlers make, right? Or am I mistaken?
I think you're correct. I mean, even
Like
like Logan
wrestlers make a
Paul
ton
and
more money. I could be wrong though too, but I'm not. Who knows? But like, I'm surprised I don't see more of it.
same
That's
here.
something I got to look up later. Like, where did Brock Lesnar make most of his money? Did he make it as the world champion in WWE, or was it world champion in the UFC? Because he was a world champion in both, and I'm curious where he made his fortune.
It
That's an
has to be
excellent question.
it has to be WWE because you got to wear like the Jimmy John sponsorship on his shorts too, and like when like
Yeah,
Reebok and stuff came in, like they took away all their sponsorship money, and so like now it's like you can be in like one fighting championship and get sponsored by a bunch of people now. It's like
yeah.
and one is so entertaining. Have you ever watched that?
Have I ever watched? What was that?
Like one like fighting championship or something?
Oh, I have seen a couple of the Demetrius Johnson fights, and I think that's it. I know it comes on TNT, like uh randomly. Like I've seen one TNT event, but that's about it. I do follow one championship on Instagram just to see highlights and stuff, but like I don't recognize any of their fighters though, except for DJ.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to get into that too. If it was more mainstream. Um, if it's more available, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If it's more available, like I would probably get more into it.
Indeed, you definitely have to keep an eye out because it like, takes place in Singapore and Asia most of the time, and so like the time difference just throws everything off. But like
Yeah, that could
what
be it too.
that whole Demetrius thing was like what his latest one of his latest fights where it was like a hybrid of MMA and Muay Thai. Did you watch
Oh
that one?
yeah, that was
Dude,
cool.
that was a cool fight for sure.
It was.
Indeed,
Yeah,
and all of them are mostly gamers too, which like brings us to like up down down with like like the New Day, and they still play video games and all that good stuff, and that'd be
yeah. Like in fact, their entrance is like very Mario Brothers like, like their New Day logo, I believe. It's pretty cool.
indeed. And to see them and like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks face off against each other on during that one time was pretty legendary.
Yeah.
Yep, most definitely.
Hey
So
man, where has Kenny Omega been? He's been MIA since he lost that AEW chip.
yeah, he was in Impact for a while.
Oh,
He might
was
have
he?
been
Okay.
because he was with the Good Brothers and with the whole Bullet Club thing, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm glad they're bringing that back with AJ and Finn when they reunited on Monday Night Raw. That was awesome. Like this
Oh
past
yeah.
Monday. So hopefully they start something new with the whole Bullet Club because they did the Too Sweet in the ring and everything. So yep. So gigs, Jason, if you can, like if your dream top five guests wrestler wise, which wrestlers would you like to see on the show?
Okay. I would say The Rock would be cool. Um, we got to bring. You know what? We almost went an hour and 2 minutes, and we've only mentioned Bret Hart one time. That I have his glasses, and he'd be someone really cool to talk to because of everything like behind the scenes that we can talk about. Respectfully. But Brock, Bret Hart, who'd be cool would be Scott Steiner. Like he seems like a man's man, right? Like when he's not in character, or from the interviews I get from him. Uh, you know what? Kenny Omega would be pretty cool to chat with, and um, the fifth one is so tough. Maybe Big Show. That'd be pretty cool because he's
And
done the AEW thing these last couple years, I believe, and he's done the WWE, WWF thing. He was in that Attitude Era, and also, he was in that WCW era where the NWO came in and took over, and he was involved in all that. He was involved in the Degeneration X era, the Ruthless Aggression era. He's been in so many eras. He'd be someone that would be cool to have a talk with too. Just some cool wrestling talk out of him.
indeed, he was in the Dungeon of Doom with Kevin Sullivan too.
Good call.
Yeah, good times. And I remember when he debuted against, was it Hogan or Goldberg, or he? Well, I think it was like Hogan because like Kevin Sullivan wanted to take down Hogan somehow. So
Yeah,
it was something like that. Good stuff. I'll definitely reach out to all those cool guys and see what happens because I've had like the craziest luck with this life so far. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. They might be my future guests, and like you said, I'll respectfully ask them questions respectfully because like I know that Buff Bagwell was going through some stuff, and so I had to keep it I didn't want to bring up the demons of his past. It's like
absolutely. Yeah,
it's not wasn't my place to say, and we all have our demons too. So
yeah.
we're no saints. Some of us are sinners.
It's mainly just to talk about like, hey, how much fun was it? Like coming to the ring with your big top hat and then turning your back to the crowd and like you're pointing to the fireworks. Like that's the kind of stuff I like to talk about. These old timers now. Like stuff like that. That's kind of what I was going with. Like like I just want to talk wrestling and just like how they enjoyed it, the good times. Just how he would like take the fan sign and put it in the camera, like in the sense, Buff's my daddy, like that kind of stuff. Like, where was his mind at? Like how, that kind of stuff. Like,
Absolutely. That's what I
ask,
should have done. Like have like an
hey,
interview.
what was your favorite, finisher move, stuff like that. Because some of these dudes have, lots of finisher moves.
Either from submissions or signatures or
Mm-hmm.
yep. And yeah, like I wanted to ask him more questions, but we should have taken an intermission between my podcast and his podcast so he could have a restroom break. And then when I found like when he said, "Hey, I need to use the restroom," I'm like, all right, we'll just wrap it up here and stuff like that. So it was cool for him to like spend 2 hours with us, and it was good times for sure.
That is
So
cool. Yeah.
Jason, thank you so much for being my guest on ROW Raised on Wrestling. It's my paying homage to the NWO with the graphic and everything like that. So too sweet for you as well. Good stuff.
ROW.
Awesome. And we'll leave on that. Great. Thanks for the ROW chance, dude. And we'll see you
Mm.
next time on ROW. And you guys take care of each other and all that good stuff.